Alright, hello everyone. So, right now on Gaia there is a new event, Everything is Fine. Now, if you go on the forums, there was just a mad dash of people trying to solve this, and it was a lot of fun. It didn't last that long, but you know, it's nice to see Gaia do an event that brings the community together. People already solved this first message, and some people know what's going on, other people are just wondering what the heck just happened, because it is very cryptic, and there's not really been enough time to post a proper explanation yet. So let's go through what the heck this event was, how we went about solving it, and what we can expect to see in the future from this. Now, all you're given is this one page. It says everything is fine. It gives you a message, 7 letters on the top, and then an actual coded message in the bottom here. You'll notice these symbols correspond, so we can assume by solving for these 7 letters, we can solve what the rest of this says. They then give us clues to solve these 7 letters here. Now you'll notice something strange here. The first clue says 3rd letter. So you might think, well, maybe it means the 3rd letter of this message is what you're solving for. However, the 3rd clue also says 3rd letter. So that tells us that this one, even though it says 3rd letter, is actually solving for the 1st. And so you're going to have to find the 3rd letter of something that you were solving for here. Now these equations that they give us as clues, they use item names as well as numbers. That means that the item's names must be corresponded to a number. So people were speculating it could be the item's average market price, but that wouldn't make any sense because it has to be a number that doesn't fluctuate. The event was made in advance, so it has to be some constant number. Now if you go to, let's say, the schoolboy skin here, you'll notice item detail in the marketplace, and then there's a number here, and that's the item's ID. So when you take this item ID number, in this case, boom, that's the item's ID. We add that to the number that they give us there. If we add those together, we end up with this. That's our solution for the first one, and we'll get to what that number is actually used for afterwards. Now if we continue to go through and solve for all of these, using the also clue here that the decimals must be rounded up. This is only used a couple times, but any decimal you have to round up. We solve for all the equations, and we end up with this list of numbers. Now what is this list of numbers used for? Well, at first we were thinking maybe, okay, it says 3rd letter, so maybe the 3rd thing here corresponds to something. But then there's these two, 12th and 9th letter. So these are too short, it's not that. Maybe it's not related to the positioning in those, maybe it's just an actual number and we go through the alphabet, so number 1 is A, 2 is B, and so you go up to 26 being Z. And then when you go to number 27 it'd be A again, so if you divided these by a multiple of 26 and then took the remainder, you'd end up with a number that would be corresponding to a letter. In this case, if we took, let's say, 36168263 divided by 26, we get some multiple of 26 here, and we don't want this part. So 1391087 times 26, and we subtract that from the original number, and the remainder will be 1. So that would mean that this equals A. Problem is that also doesn't end up working, so we have to find out, okay, what else could it be? And someone in our Discord chat suggested, well, maybe it's profiles. So if we go to the profile of this number, it actually takes us to someone's profile, Rance Clear, who is, in fact, an employee at Gaia right now. And if we continue on with all of these numbers, each of them takes us to a Gaia staff member's profile, so clearly we're onto something here. Now the clue did say 3rd letter, so we take the 3rd letter of his name, which is N, and that's what we got now. We go through all the staff members' names and we get all of these letters, and we end up with Nero Row, which does fit here. You'll see some of the symbols are repeated. This symbol and this symbol, this one and this one, and this one and this one. And this fits. So the answer here of Nero Row is actually corresponding to these symbols. Now what does Nero Row mean? That was the next thing you had to figure out, and the answer is probably nothing. Instead what it's used for is that you can then plug in those into the actual sentence here. So this Nero Row was just a guideline. From then, we plug those into here, and we'll end up with a bunch of blanks, these symbols that we don't understand yet, combined with the ones that we do. And when we go through that, we'll find a generally workable, almost sentence where there are a bunch of blank spaces, but you can piece together the rest. Now someone did all the dirty work for that one, and you end up with a sentence, "Please help us, please save us. We cannot take it anymore." And that's it. That's the entire first message is that. Now what does this do for us? Well, it actually doesn't do anything just yet, but it does set up two things. One, it sets up that the tone of the event is that everything is not fine, and we're going to find out why soon enough. More importantly, though, it actually gives us some of these letters to work with. So now every letter in this message, we know how it translates into English. And so in the next event, or the next message rather, we'll be able to instantly translate it. So it's most likely that the next challenge will give us a message in that language, and that'll tell us what the challenge is. So the first message is probably going to link into the second. So yeah, that's the event. It's a bit complicated, as you can see, but at the same time, there's not much to it just yet in terms of actual reward. It'll be interesting to see where this goes, but it is really neat to have an event that actually has some involvement and gets everyone working together. So I hope we see more of these in the future. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope that cleared up at least a little bit of what the heck this is, and have a good one. Really quick continuation on that last bit. Someone just found out there is a grant key for this. So if you go to this URL, grant key equals Nero row, yeah, that's actually used for that. You get an egg. Here it is, space egg. It comes with a hairpin and 100 million gold. So clearly, there are actually going to be 7 parts to this event, which is insane. I thought it'd maybe be like 2 or 3, but that's promising. There's a lot to look forward to. And now we know that if you decode those messages, there's actually going to be grants related to them. So we'll have to keep our eyes peeled for that. Anyways, thanks again. Have a good one.